Good day and welcome to Dub's Paradise. I'm Dub, short for Big Dub, and remember, whatever it is that we are, it's flesh and a little spirit and some intelligence. Today we're going to recap the first game of the MLB season. We're going to preview tomorrow's game, second game of a back-to-back in Korea. We'll go into some minor NFL news as usual. We'll talk a bit about the Leafs and some NHL action. And we're going to talk about some NBA action. And then I'll give my picks for March Madness, 2024 March Madness. Okay, so if you're an early bird like myself, then you are awake. Well, if you're an early bird and also a baseball fan like myself, then you are awake at around 5:30 to prepare for the first game of the season between the Dodgers and the Padres in Korea. I'm usually awake because I go to the gym. I leave for the gym around 6:30 a.m. Eastern time. Just saying, gotta wake up early. So, and it was the first game of the season, so I was pretty hooked. I woke up as soon as it was 6 o'clock. I opened my laptop and I turned the game on, watched the first pitch, watched the first inning, got in my car. Another cold, snowy day in Toronto. It was the first day of spring 2 days ago, but woke up to a bit of snow and minus degrees temperature, and was watching the game in my car, going to the gym. You know, I wasn't like watching it. I was like, it was on the screen, but I was listening to the game mostly. Always be safe while you're driving. And then I was working out, doing my chest day and tricep day today, and I was watching the game there. So it was a good morning. It was a good morning. The game you could say started off as a bit of a pitcher's duel. Glasnow, he quickly worked through a couple of innings, and then he got into a bit of trouble. Allowed some walks, allowed some hits. It's hard to keep a lineup like San Diego down, like 3 up, 3 down for every inning. But he managed to go through 5 innings. Didn't get that many strikeouts. Got a few walks and allowed a couple of hits. But overall, 2 earned runs allowed. But overall, I would say it was a good first start for him. Like I said, the Padres are a good lineup, and it's hard to keep him down. Glasnow, he should get better as the year goes along. He's probably just shaking off a bit of rust for a start of the season. Dodgers don't want him to exert himself too much. So I would say, and they got the win. So he didn't get the win, but the team got the win. So he did his job today. The Padres, on the other hand, like I said, it was like more of a pitcher's duel. Yu Darvish pitched pretty well. He got into a bit of trouble first 2 innings, but the Dodgers couldn't capitalize with the bases loaded. He allowed a bit of walks, some base hits, and in the 3rd inning, I believe, he threw like 31 pitches. That's when they had the bases loaded, and they couldn't capitalize off that. So it was like a 2-1 score going into the 5th, and I was thinking to myself, like, wow, like I predicted a 6-2 win for Dodgers, and right now they're down 2-1, and I was ready to make excuses as to what happened. Like I wasn't gonna pick them to only score 1 run. Like, who would pick them to score only 1 run? You know, like I was gonna ready to tell all those excuses, but the Dodgers, you can't keep them down for too long. Their lineup is too jacked. And in the 7th, that's when they broke out. They scored 4 in the 7th to Oscar Hernandez, ex-Blue Jay. I have high hopes for him this year to get a bit of home runs. Then there was a walk. And then it started with Gavin Lux hit a ball that went through the glove of the first baseman, Jake Cronenworth. Like, he tried catching it and the ball literally went through the glove. So that was an error, but should have probably been, I don't know if it's an error or a base hit, but maybe it should have been a base hit. But I'm not just saying that because I have Gabalos on my fantasy team who went 0 for 5 with 1 run scored. But no strikeouts, so that's good. But yeah, and then Mookie Betts came up, base hit. Shohei Ohtani, base hit. And it was 5-2. And the Padres couldn't come back. The Padres bullpen seemed to be nervous because they or maybe just a couple pitchers. Like one pitcher had a pitch clock violation. Darvish, the starter, had a pitch clock violation. One of their next relievers, the Padres relievers, had 2 pitch clock violations and not allowed a runner to get on base just right then and there. So I don't know what's going on with that, but they should be more prepared as the season gets longer and longer, because the pitch clock is always going to be there. So no excuse as to why you get multiple violations in one game. So I predicted a 6-2 score, and I would say 5-2 is pretty close. Dodgers could have scored way more runs if they could hit with runners in scoring position early on when they had the bases loaded. But it took a while to warm up. Like the big bats, Shohei got an RBI, Mookie got an RBI, but Freddie Freeman was kind of quiet today. Will Smith kind of quiet. Then the lineup, it was pretty quiet. Teoscar got an RBI, or did he get a? Yeah, I think Teoscar got an RBI, so that was good for him and his confidence, because he can be a major part of that lineup if he can get home runs. And I'm a fan of Teoscar because the Jays got rid of him pretty much for just having too much fun with the other Spanish players like Vladdy, Gurriel. They took away the home run jacket. Didn't work. They were pretty bad last year, not having any fun. John Schneider thinks he's so great at managing. Took away the home run jacket, and man, I don't know how he's still coach, or manager. But Jay is gonna start next week, and we'll see how this season goes for them. But tomorrow, the Dodgers and the Padres playing once again at 6:05 a.m. Eastern Time in Korea. And the starters for that game is going to be Joe Musgrove for the Padres and Yamamoto for the Dodgers. And it's going to be, much anticipated debut of Yamamoto, who signed a major contract this offseason along with Ohtani from Japan. I would say in his spring training starts, he did well for one start, and I think I'm not sure if he got 3 starts or 4 starts, but I know in his second start after his first successful start, he got lit up. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Everyone has a lot of faith that he's gonna be guaranteed Rookie of the Year in the NL, but who knows? But I hope he does well, because I want the Dodgers to do well. I guess I'm a fan of the Japanese players. They won the World Baseball Classic last summer. So they should do well. I'm not gonna give a prediction for that game. I mean, I could. It's not that hard to give a prediction, but I don't wanna give predictions every single game. But yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna watch this game without anything on the line. I'm just gonna watch it and enjoy it. Hopefully I can watch it again tomorrow. I'm going to the gym again early on as usual, so I should be able to tune in for most of it. I'm not a big fan of the Padres, so I wouldn't mind seeing Joe Musgrove. I wouldn't mind if the Dodgers hitters can get some runs scored against Joe Musgrove. I'm a fan of Dylan Cease, so when he starts, I'd want him to be successful. But the Padres, like I said, they're kind of like the Clippers of the MLB. So they're just a bit overrated and not that fun to cheer for if you're in the same state as a team like the Dodgers. And yesterday, I said the Padres are a poor man's Dodgers and the Giants are a poor man's Padres. Well, maybe I'll be wrong about that, because the Padres, they have a. I mean, the San Francisco Giants have a solid pitching staff. They got they got Logan Webb, Blake Snell, and they got good relievers. They got Harrison, who you saw on my fantasy team yesterday, but I'm not sure if they have the offense. But as far as like being a good organization and a team who can get wins, they've won multiple World Series. Of course, that was in the past, but they might be more serious than a team like San Diego. So might have to come back to that statement and see what happens by the end of the year. But maybe the Giants will be better than the Padres. So respects to all the San Francisco Giant fans out there. Sorry if I offended you by saying they're a poor man's Padres, but I do have respect for the franchise and the team. Matt Chapman should do well. Hopefully he can have a good season. Kind of slacked off for the Jays. Like he got off to a hot start, and then he got a bit injured, and wasn't the same. But his third base skills are unmatched. I'm gonna miss him at third base because whenever the ball went to him at third base, it's like a vacuum. Suck it up, toss to first, toss to second, wherever he was there. He's an amazing third baseman, and that's like almost as valuable as being a good hitter. So yeah, tomorrow Dodgers are going to be at home. Well, technically at home. Like today, they're technically on the road. The Padres are home. Tomorrow's going to be the opposite, and it's going to be the debut of Yamamoto and Joe Musgrove on the mound. So some NFL news to talk about. Not much NFL news to talk about these days. Free agency has kind of gone down a bit, kind of quieted down. But the Chargers, they released Mike Williams, kind of an injury-prone star wide receiver. But the key word is injury-prone, so I guess I just wanted to get rid of him because they didn't want to have him be injured next season and just have him taking up space when the Chargers have a good amount of young players on their team, young wide receivers on their team. So Mike Williams, he signed a 1-year deal with the Jets. So now he's going to be playing alongside Garrett Wilson and another target for Aaron Rodgers. I tell you, I'm not a fan of the Jets, of course. I mean, as far as New York teams go, I guess I like them the most, especially because I like Aaron Rodgers. But I'm a fan of Pittsburgh Steelers, as you can see in the background. Juju Smith-Schuster jersey, and when I got that jersey, that's when like their downfall started. Like remember Juju against the Saints could have made the playoffs. He caught the ball, ran for it, and then he fumbled it. Yep, I got the jersey that same year, and I felt like I was the curse. I was a reason for the problem, but I'm just superstitious. But honestly, I hope Aaron Rodgers can come back, be healthy, be the MVP candidate that he can be, that he is actually. The Jets, everyone says they're a cursed franchise. They've been looking for stability at quarterback for years now, and they finally seem to have gotten it. And on the fourth play of the game, opening day last year, Aaron Rodgers got hurt for the entire season, and they said he might come back because he was grinding. He was working his way back, trying to come back from an ACL injury, which no player has ever done. Like got injured and then came back the same season. But Aaron Rodgers. He's one of the top 5 ever quarterbacks, probably for a reason. I mean, you could say he's top 5. Just doesn't have the Super Bowls to go with it. But as far as quarterback skill goes, just throwing the ball, he's definitely top 5. But this is just my generation. Is obviously a bunch of older quarterbacks who are great. So Aaron Rodgers is in the debate for at least like a top 10 quarterback of all time. The Jets preview this season. They got Breece Hall at running back. They still have their studs on defense. Aaron Rodgers will be back. Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams on the other side of him. they could win the division. I mean, the Patriots. We'll see what happens with their quarterback issues and their coach and their franchise without Belichick, Tom Brady. Well, last year they're terrible with just Belichick. Mac Jones is gone. They'll have a new quarterback, and we'll see how that goes for them. Maybe they'll pick Jaden Daniels. Maybe they'll pick Drake May, but they'll have some good. They'll have a good chance to improve. The Bills, they're gonna be good as usual in a regular season, but who knows? Maybe they'll be. Maybe they're on the decline because Josh Allen is not getting any younger. Stephon Diggs is not getting any younger. Their defense is kind of. They all sort of left. They signed some players, but they also let some players go. And Josh Allen's IQ for football doesn't seem to be improving as the time goes by. You'd think it would. But they should make the playoffs and then lose like usual. And then Miami, once again, they should make the playoffs and then lose as usual. So the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, they should win. I mean, let's see what happens. I wouldn't say it's gonna be a tight division. But we'll see what happens. In the NHL, the playoff race is getting pretty tight. For the Eastern Conference, the Capitals, they won their last game and then they were in a playoff spot. But then last night, Detroit won, so now they overtook the Capitals for the last wildcard spot in the Eastern Conference. The Capitals are on a 3-game winning streak, and tonight they're looking to extend that against the Leafs. And the Leafs are going to be on the road playing in DC. Ovi's going to try to score some goals, get closer to Gretzky. Marner is still not going to be playing. Joseph Wall should start. Samsonov started last night. So we'll see if Joseph Wall can have a good game. The Caps, I wouldn't say they score a lot of goals. They're kind of like a grinding team these days. They're young players. They're young players, but I say young players because I'm thinking that the Capitals are just Ovechkin, and anyone who is not Ovechkin is pretty much younger than him. So they're players who are younger, not as skilled. They've been getting some dirty goals, some grinding goals, some like nail the net goals. So it's impressive. They first year coach, and he's led them from being sellers at the trade deadline to almost being in a playoff spot. And all you need is to get in the playoffs, and then anything can happen. The Leafs lost last night. Now they're on a 2-game losing streak. I wouldn't say it's too much of an issue or too much of a worrying thing to lose 2 straight. I mean, I'm a Caps fan, and I guess of course I'm a Leafs fan too. So, but tonight, who do I want to win? I'm just gonna watch and see what happens. I want the Caps to make the playoffs, and I want the Leafs to try to show some heart, try to show like they want to win, try to like do something. No Marner, and then they can't close out the game against Carolina. They go down 3-0 against the Flyers last night after blowing the lead to Carolina with 2 minutes to go. It's unacceptable. They ended up losing just 4-3, but to go down 3-0 to the Flyers, they should be better, and I hope to be better tonight. But like I said, I wouldn't mind if the Capitals won and try to get into the playoffs. Last night, like I was asked the silliest question I've ever probably been asked in my life. The question was, would you put an asterisk, however you pronounce it, beside the Capitals Stanley Cup win because they played Vegas? And I was baffled. I was taken aback. I was dumbfounded. I was flummoxed by that question. Because as if no one watched their Stanley Cup run to begin with, the Capitals were down 0-2 against Columbus first round. They put Braden Holtby back in the net, and they won 4 straight to win round 1. Round 2 against Pittsburgh. I don't gotta say anything more. Every single year before that year, they've lost to Pittsburgh in the playoffs, and that in 2018, the Capitals beat them. Kuznetsov, the Flying Eagle, Ovi with the pass in overtime, Game 6 on Pittsburgh's home ice, won that game, celebrating right in the Pittsburgh fans' faces. People still said that the Caps would not win the Stanley Cup after exercising their demons and beating Pittsburgh Penguins 4-2. No Game 7. Finally, not a Game 7. Just ended it right then and there. Round 3, they faced Tampa Bay. That was a bit of a closer series. Once again, the Caps were down 3-2. They're down 3-2 in that series. They won, go to Game 7, and they won again in the Eastern Conference Finals. And then finally, they made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. And what? People say speculate. Oh, the Capitals wouldn't have beat any other team if they made it to if it wasn't, they wouldn't have beat anyone but Vegas. First of all, you don't know that. You don't know that to be true. And what about every other team in the Western Conference who lost to Vegas? What about them? Right? The Capitals beat them in 5 games. Braden Holtby made some incredible saves. That one save with the stick, that's like the save of the century right there. I'm not even being biased. Like, the moment and the awareness, the clutchness, it wasn't luck. It was skill. And Vegas couldn't handle it. The Capitals, after going through the gauntlet of the Eastern Conference, finally making it to the Stanley Cup Finals, they're not going to lose that series. So whoever played them in the Stanley Cup Finals was not going to beat them. Vegas was a great team. They already won a Stanley Cup. During the expansion draft, teams just gave away all their good players and put a whole bunch of great, not superstar players, but a whole bunch of good players for every single line. So they had 4 lines of talented players. So their third and fourth lines, etc., were better than teams' third and fourth line. Their defense was stacked. They had good goaltending, and that's what happened. Who was their goaltender? Marc-Andre Fleury, and when he was on Pittsburgh, they couldn't get past him. Capitals beat Pittsburgh, and then they beat Fleury. So when he was on Vegas, so they exercised all their demons. Honestly, I was concerned. I was like, oh man, Fleury, he's always great in the playoffs. Like when he beat Detroit, Penguins won back-to-back. Capitals never could get past him. Oh my God, and they did. So to say that, to even consider a question, put an asterisk beside the Capitals' Stanley Cup win 2018, that's just hating. And Ovechkin, like I said, will never get his respect, no matter once he gets past Gretzky's goal scoring record, still won't get any respect. Still, is there an asterisk? No, it's ridiculous. No team had tape of how Vegas plays. They're a first-year team. They roll through the entire regular season. They roll through every team in the Western Conference, except the Capitals. They could have had 2 Stanley Cups, Vegas, if they faced any other team, but they faced Capitals, and the Capitals owned them. Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, John Carlson, Lars Eller, Devontae Smith-Pelly, Nicholas Backstrom, Braden Holtby, everyone on that team, Barry Trotz. That was their mistake. They could have went back-to-back. But, how do you not keep Barry Trotz? How? That is what the worst thing they could have done post Stanley Cup. Just pay the guy. He earned it. He got the team their first Stanley Cup in history, and they let him go when he was practically the reason they won the Stanley Cup. Of course, they had lines rolling. They had four lines rolling. They had defenses rolling. They had a hot Braden Holtby, but Barry Trotz. I mean, they tried every other coach. It didn't work. And then they let Barry Trotz go after he won the Stanley Cup. So to me, that's ridiculous. And then the following year, the Caps went back to the usual first round exit, lost to Carolina, and I was like, damn, just like that, they're back to normal. But they won the Stanley Cup, and that was the highlight of my young life, or my middle-aged life, or my 30 years living on Earth. One of the highlights, at least so far. One of the highlights. Okay, so NBA action tonight. The Raptors are playing the Kings. Raptors are on a 7-game losing streak, and they're going to try to end that tonight. It's probably not going to happen. The Kings are a great team. Plus, they're a Western Conference team, so they're even better than what the Raps would usually face. Poor Raptors. They won the NBA Finals 2 and then refused to rebuild right away, and now they're suffering. Going to be suffering for a while. Like Scotty Barnes is out, so they really, I mean, they have a chance. They're up 10 against Denver the other day, or a couple of games ago. They blew that lead, or they weren't up 10, they're up like 20 against Denver. They lost that game. Played Orlando Magic back to back, lost both, and now they're playing the Kings, so they're going to be another loss for them most likely. It's okay. We'll see. I'm not sure about their draft pick, about their first round pick, because maybe I think I heard somewhere that if it's a top 6 pick, they'll get it. So maybe they're losing because of that. Maybe they're tanking for the top 6 pick. We'll see. A good game tonight in the NBA is going to be the Bucks playing the Celtics. Both teams should have full lineups. Giannis, Lillard, Middleton, etc. And the Bucks playing Celtics, Porzingis, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, etc. Big Eastern Conference showdown. I wouldn't say Celtics have anything to worry about because the Eastern Conference standings, like, it really isn't close. So Celtics, you never know who's going to win that game. Celtics are at home. Celtics are home tonight, and they have a great home record. But Milwaukee's trying to still get their feet under them and be a good team, be consistent getting wins with Doc Rivers and all of them. Oh man, like, you could say that the Celtics have had that the Bucks have had a disappointing season with Giannis and Lillard, 2 stars, but I don't like Tatum, Porzingis, Jaylen Brown. Once the playoffs start, they're gonna get far, but I just don't really trust them that much because they don't have like a true big man. Like, Porzingis is a big man, of course, but he's not like a dominant big man. He's not like, well, for example, he's not like Jokic on Denver. He's not like, Shaq. Like, Boston doesn't have player like Pau Gasol, like even Marc Gasol. Like, they don't really have that. So I don't know, like, LeBron's championships, like, no player on the Celtics is as good as LeBron is. That's the thing. Jaylen Brown can be shut down in the playoffs. Tatum will be by himself. They have a good defense with Jrue Holiday, of course, but it's gonna be tough. I want to honestly though, Miami, they just wait till the playoffs start to do well. So, and Bam Adebayo is one of those big men who could dominate the game if the team doesn't have that many big men to stop him. And Porzingis isn't like a defensive big man like that. So Boston, it'd be a disappointment if they don't make the finals, but it's tough without a dominant force like that, especially when players like Jaylen Brown, Porzingis can be shut down. Drew Holiday is not like an offensive player; he's more of a defensive player who can contribute a bit offensively. So we'll see what happens tonight. You know what? I'll make a bold prediction. I don't want to be obvious and say that Celtics are gonna win, so I'll say the Bucks are gonna win. It's probably gonna be a game with no defense, so it might be a high scoring game. Maybe Bucks like 128, Celtics like 120, that sort of thing. Like recently, the Bucks beat Phoenix 140 to 129. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how Dame plays, Giannis plays, and we'll see how Celtics play at home. It should be good. So speaking of basketball, this week is the start of March Madness. Tomorrow is the first official day. Yesterday there were just the playing games. So I haven't made my bracket yet for the men's side. So why not do a live pick of the bracket? It's gonna work. Let's see how it goes. Maybe doing it live is gonna give me some good luck to have a good bracket record. Imagine, like, no one's ever gotten perfect, but I want to do as well as possible. I want to at least get the Final Four correct. So here's the empty bracket. ESPN. Let's see what I can think of here. So UConn, it seems like an easy pick. FAU versus Northwestern. Like, sometimes I'm biased towards Northwestern because that's where like a lot of ESPN journalists are from, that school. But usually they disappoint, like Wilbon is from that school. A lot of other important ESPN analysts are from that school. Like Northwestern is a journalist school, so that's why. They've had some good wins in basketball, but I'll go with FAU. We'll see. San Diego State, UAB. Let's go San Diego State. Auburn versus Yale. Yale. Let's pick an upset. Let's go with Yale. BYU. Let's go BYU. I think, is that Duquesne? Is that how you pronounce their name? I think they had some issues. Not issues, but their coach is retiring, I think. BYU seems to be a better team. Let's go with BYU. The Mormon school. Illinois versus Morehead State. Let's go with Illinois. Washington State and Drake State, or Drake. Let's go Washington State. I'm just picking all the favorite teams, and then I'll go Iowa State. Usually you don't see too many 2-15 upsets, but there has been recently. North Carolina, automatic. Mississippi State versus Michigan State. Let's go Michigan State. St. Mary's, Grand Canyon. Go St. Mary's. Alabama, Charleston. Alabama's been doing okay. Clemson, New Mexico. I pick an upset here, New Mexico. Total just guesses. I can get Baylor. I'll pick Baylor. Dayton and Nevada. Let's go with Dayton. Arizona. I'll go with Arizona. So Houston versus Longwood. Houston, I think they're like the overall number one, or is it UConn? But Houston, they should handle that. Nebraska, Texas A&M. I'll go Nebraska. Should I go Nebraska? I'll go Nebraska. Wisconsin, James Madison. Pick Wisconsin. Duke versus Vermont. Like, I am anti-Duke, but they should get past Vermont. Texas Tech versus NC State. NC State won the ACC championship. Are they gonna get out of the March Madness bracket early? I'll take a risk. Go with NC State. I'll take a risk. Kentucky, you gotta go with Kentucky. Florida, not sure who they're facing yet, but I'll just pick Florida for now. I'm gonna go with Marquette. And then Purdue. Purdue should win. I'll go TCU. They seem to be a good sports school. They're good at, they made it to the college football championship a couple years ago and got slapped. Then they lost to Colorado. Deion Sanders' team, they lost the first game of the season, but that was football. Let's see how they do in basketball. They might try to be better at basketball this year. Gonzaga, why not? Kansas, I'll go with Oregon upset. I'll go with Creighton. I'll go with Texas. Then I'll go with Tennessee. Okay, so I went back up to the Sweet Six, to the round of 32. So UConn versus FAU. I'll go UConn. Yale, San Diego State. I'll go with Yale. I'll go with Yale. BYU versus Illinois. I'll go with Illinois. Then I'll go with Washington State. North Carolina versus Michigan. I'll go North Carolina. You see a trend starting. I'll go St. Mary's. I'll go with Baylor. I'll go with Arizona. And Houston, Nebraska. Let's go with Houston. The number one should survive. Duke and Wisconsin. Tough. I'll go with Wisconsin. Let's go with Duke getting out early. Let's see how this bracket goes. Kentucky. You know what? Maybe I'll go with NC. I'll roll with NC State for a bit. I'll roll with them for a bit. I'll go with Marquette. I'll go with Purdue. I'll go with Kansas. I'll go with Creighton. Then I'll go with Tennessee. Sweet 16 now. I'll roll with UConn. I'll roll with Illinois. North Carolina. And Arizona. I'll go with Houston. I'll go with NC State. I'll go with Purdue. And I'll go with Tennessee. I'll go with, this is to get to the final four now. I'll go with UConn, North Carolina, Houston, and then I'll go with Tennessee. Usually you don't see like all number ones in the final four, and honestly the men's side has been kind of there could be some upsets. There honestly could be some upsets before the bracket ends, but hopefully all I care is that North Carolina wins, and I'll say they face Houston, who is a great team all season, and North Carolina is going to win another national championship. How many total points will be scored in the championship game? Let's see. Let's go with 148. I don't know what that score will be. I'm just guessing. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, actually, let me go with like 138. I'll go with 138. I don't think Canadians can enter these contests, but no, I don't want it. Let's see. I'm just gonna just submit my bracket. Bam. There we go. North Carolina. So I'm only gonna pick one bracket, and then I'll join probably the PTI group, and then I'll share my women's bracket predictions tomorrow. Too much thinking for one bracket day. So tomorrow we're gonna talk about the results of the second game in Korea, Dodgers versus Padres. We're gonna see what happens between now and tomorrow when it comes to NFL news. Could be some more stuff happening. It's still only 11:30. We'll talk about the NBA games: Toronto versus Sacramento, NHL, Caps versus Leafs. See how that game goes, and we have another good day. So as I wrap up today's episode, and also, what's it called? Miami Open is gonna be starting. It's gonna be getting in full swing tomorrow into Friday. So that's gonna be more tennis. Too bad it's a snowy day. It's cold. It's cold in Toronto. But luckily, it wasn't too much snow this winter. I'm not gonna get into all that on this program, but I want to go outside and play some tennis already. It's gonna be April soon. We gotta get out there. So, thanks for watching this episode of Dub's Paradise. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Any opinions, thoughts, what I should talk about, and remember to enjoy your day.